Imagine you step into a time machine, set the dial to the past, and arrive decades before you were born. You make one fateful choice, preventing your grandparents from meeting. But wait, if they never meet, you were never born. And if you were never born, who went back in time? This is the grandfather paradox, one of the most famous puzzles in time travel. But it's just the beginning of the paradoxes that threaten our understanding of time. Today, we're breaking down the biggest time travel contradictions, from self-correcting timelines to parallel universes, and by the end, we'll ask, can the past actually be changed? Before we start, what do you think? If time travel were real, could we change the past, or would the universe prevent it? Comment below. Let's start with the grandfather paradox, one of the biggest challenges to the idea of backward time travel. The setup. You travel to the past. You accidentally or intentionally prevent your grandfather from meeting your grandmother. This means your parents were never born, and neither were you. But if you were never born, who went back in time to change things? This creates an impossible loop, an event that erases itself from existence. Why is this a problem? Because causality, the idea that every effect has a cause, is broken. So, does this mean backward time travel is impossible? Not necessarily. Some physicists believe time travel might self-correct in ways that prevent paradoxes. One possible solution comes from Igor Novikov, a Russian physicist who proposed the Novikov self-consistency principle. The core idea: if time travel is possible, then history must be self-consistent, meaning any event that could create a paradox is simply impossible to begin with. Example: let's say you go back in time to stop your grandfather from meeting your grandmother. According to Novikov, something would always happen to prevent you from succeeding. Maybe the gun jams, maybe you slip and knock yourself unconscious, maybe someone intervenes before you change history. Basically, the universe corrects itself so that any action taken in the past was always meant to happen. But this leads to another paradox. Imagine you're a scientist. One day, a book on advanced physics appears at your doorstep. You study it, publish the ideas inside, and years later, after becoming famous, you send a copy back in time to your younger self. Where did the knowledge in the book actually come from? This is called the bootstrap paradox, named after the phrase pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. It's a scenario where information, objects, or even people have no true origin. They just exist in a never-ending time loop. Another example, Beethoven's music. Imagine a time traveler goes back and gives young Beethoven his own sheet music. Beethoven copies it and becomes famous for it. But who originally wrote the music? The bootstrap paradox challenges our understanding of cause and effect, because the information was never actually created. So if changing the past is off the table, is there another way to make time travel work? What if instead of changing the past, we create an entirely new timeline? This is the idea behind the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. Instead of a single timeline, the universe might constantly be splitting into infinite parallel realities based on different choices. Example: you travel to the past and prevent your grandfather from meeting your grandmother. Instead of erasing your existence, a new parallel timeline is created, one where you were never born. But the original timeline, where you do exist, still remains intact. This would mean that time travel doesn't change history. It simply creates a new branch in the multiverse. Could this explain déjà vu, Mandela effects, alternate realities? It's a mind-blowing idea, but there's no concrete proof that parallel universes exist. Still, if they do, it could mean that time travelers aren't changing our history. They're just moving between different versions of reality. So what do you think? Do you believe the past can be changed, or would the universe stop it? Let's debate in the comments.